Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is day one of curriculum week and I'm really excited. So every year for the last handful of years, I can't even remember how long I've been doing this, I share a week of all of our family's curriculum choices. So today I'm sharing our family subjects. A lot of what we do in our homeschool is as a family. So I have 5 kids, a 2-year-old all the way up through a sophomore in high school this year. And we try to fit as much as we can in together as a family. So today I'm starting curriculum week by sharing those family subjects. And then throughout the rest of the week, I'll be sharing each child's individual subjects by grade. But you'll need to kind of keep coming back to this video if you have questions about additional things that they're using. So they'll have their own math, they'll have their own science, but geography, history, enrichment studies, Bible studies, and co-ops and things like that are all a family subject. So this is the beginning video of 5 days of curriculum choices and the most important one of the week probably. So I hope you guys enjoy today's video. One thing to keep in mind though is that we've been homeschooling for a really long time and we've kind of built the homeschool that fits our family best. So I don't want you to think that any of these things are required of you or that we have some massive course load that we hit every single day. Most of these things are sprinkled in throughout the week. They are not by any means anything that we do every day. I don't think a single one of these things, no, not one single one of these things are a subject that we do every single day. So it ebbs and flows and there's a good balance to it. So while I'm showing you a lot today, it does not feel like a lot when we're in it for 2 reasons. One, because we kind of build it to be sprinkled in throughout the week, but also because these are all subjects that we're very familiar with and we've been doing for a really long time, so it's second nature. So just keep that in mind anytime you look at curriculum videos. I feel like you can get in your own head as a homeschooler very easily, and that's not my intention. So without further ado, here are our family curriculum choices this year. So here are our family subjects for the 2024-2025 homeschool year. As I mentioned in the intro to this video, we do not do all of these things every day. All of this is mostly done at least once or twice per week. We hit everything at least once. Although some of these things are by term and not by the whole year. So this is essentially the family feast for the year, but it's not necessarily going from September through June, you know, every single book. In addition to this, we also have a morning basket, which has some things that are in it every year. It has like some daily readings that we do every year. It has some daily poetry, like nature poetry, some, you know, just little things like that. And part of that morning basket is World Watch News as well. So I just didn't want anyone to say, oh, you've always used World Watch News and then I don't have it listed here. That's gonna be part of our morning basket video that I'll be sharing next week. So keep an eye out for that video. That morning basket is just part of our table time. But these are more so the intentional subjects, our geography, our history, our family handcraft, Bible study, habit study, composers, poets, things like that, that change per year. So starting here, this year we are doing whittling as our handcraft, and we're gonna be doing this the entire year this year. This is one that I have promised. I've especially promised it to my boys for the last few years, but something else kind of popped up each year that I thought would be more doable given the ages of our kids and things like that. So we've done everything from quilling to watercolor to button sewing and all sorts of different crafty handcrafts, and I thought I owed it, especially to my boys, to do something like this year. So we talked about wood burning or wood carving. We settled on wood carving, and I bought, essentially what I did was I went on, if you know Amber O'Neill Johnston, she has an Amazon storefront. She has a wood whittling, you know, section on her storefront. And I basically just like went through all the things that she suggested and bought most of it. So I bought 2 of these wood carving sets, which have a handful of different things. Then I bought separate gloves for each of my kids. And then the 2 books that I got were this Easy Wood Carving for Children. And this goes over some basics, and then it has some simple projects to create. What I love about the different crafts that handcrafts that we do is that the kids can make a lot of Christmas gifts for the grandparents and extended family. So I do hope for them to be able to make this year's Christmas ornaments out of wood. And then I also bought this Forest Craft, A Child's Guide to Whittling in the Woodland. And this also has some techniques and different, doable projects. So I hope to pick one project per month, and we can spend a little bit of time on each project. So that's kind of my goal. I haven't selected which projects we'll do, but there are some really good beginner projects that we'll start with and then move on from there and see where we get. So at least, 3 or 4 times a month we'll do some whittling and hopefully be able to complete one project at least per month. I also bought all the extra spoons and pieces of wood and all that. Our geography this year is, we're continuing on with last year's geography, which last year we did Simply Charlotte Mason Visits 2. And the Visits 2 series that we started last year was Australia and South America. We got a little bit hung up on Australia, a couple of the book selections, so it took us a while to get through. And so right when we were getting to the beginning of South America, I was like, let's just pause and then we'll do South America next year. So we are gonna do a second year of that Visits 2 series. And then in addition to that, there are some reading selections as well as readings from Material World and Hungry Planet, which these have been staples in our geography for a long time. Our history is, as always, Story of the World. We are on our second round through Story of the World. We've been doing it for, I guess this would be our 7th year or 8th year now. It takes us about 6 years to get through all 4 books at the pace that we go, and we do this with friends. So last year we finished the ancient world and we started the Middle Ages right after Christmas. So we will be finishing this year. So this book, the volume 2, will take us through the end of this school year, and then we'll pick up with volume 3 after that. I did go ahead and gift myself the discs this year. I do enjoy reading it to the kids, but quite often it's just much easier with a toddler if it's read aloud to us. So we've got that. Here is a kind of by term thing. We have our artists. We have Fra Angelico this year. You guys know that I wanted to do this last year, but we didn't get to it. And Whistler. So I've got one Renaissance artist and one modern artist. We will probably start with Fra Angelico just because we were supposed to end the year with it last year. And then we will, in the second half of the year, do Whistler. This kind of goes along with our history and right where we're at in history right now. And then this will just be our second artist next year. Our composer this year is Chopin. And this was the very first composer that we ever did. So we're kind of getting back to that time where we're cycling back to the beginning of our homeschool for my younger ones, and my older ones are getting a second little touch of something that they've already done, but from a different, older perspective. When we bought this the first time, I bought the digital copy and I just wanted to have the discs, so I went ahead and purchased the discs this year. I also was going to bring back Monet as an artist next year, because that was one of the first artists that we ever did as well. But Bella just got a chance to go see some original art in Chicago with us back in the winter time, and I decided that we're gonna pause and just wait one more year, bring in one more new artist, and then start going back through some of them. So it was gonna be almost a repeat of the early years of our homeschool with Chopin and Monet, but just Chopin this time. And then our poet is William Wordsworth, and I am quite thrilled because we will be visiting the museum this fall, the Wordsworth House and Museum this fall. So here are a few things that will be in my morning basket video, but these are more of the things that are selected just for this year. Last year we did a different life skill per term, and I'm going back to just doing one life skill for the year. and that's because it's kind of a hefty one. I want to do financial literacy for the kids, not necessarily like just budgeting or being frugal or anything like that. I want my kids to understand, you know, just financial literacy in general. I want them to understand the value of money, how to use it. I feel like at this point, if I ask some of my kids how much a box of Ritz crackers cost at the grocery store, most of them wouldn't even have a ballpark because they're just not the ones spending the money or doing most of that with me. And I would like, especially now that my oldest is going into 10th grade, she's got a little job and she loves shopping. And then my son is 13 and needs to start picking up on these things, you know, mentally, just to be able to prepare to have a household one day as well. So we're gonna go ahead and do financial literacy. I have all sorts of different ideas that I'm gonna bring out. I have some different little challenges and tasks that I'm gonna give them throughout the year. And then I have essentially like a curriculum that I'm using with my older two, a workbook, and then the Simply Charlotte Mason bookstore math for my younger ones. But I wanted to tie it all together, and in order to make it a family subject, we're gonna read through selections from this book together all year long. So it's a hefty book, but I'm gonna pick certain portions to be reading to them as part of our morning basket time to just kind of make us all focus on money, possessions, and eternity as our life skill this year. I haven't found a great resource for like a curriculum for financial literacy as a life skill. If you have suggestions, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below, but I am also pretty excited about kind of what I'm piecing together personally for my family. We're gonna continue through this Speaking Spanish with Miss Mason and Francois. We got a pretty good way of the way through this, but it might take us the rest of the year to confidently finish this with all the additional prompts that are involved. So I haven't purchased the second book yet, but you might see that at the end of this year or next year. Of course, laying down the rails is a main component of our family time. So I haven't picked our habits yet this year, but that will be probably one of the next things I do when I have some time to plan. And then if you were along for the ride last year, then you know that the Burgess Bird Book was one of our most favorite subjects we've ever done as a family. And so we are going to do the Burgess Seashore book this year. And Simply Charlotte Mason didn't have a go-along resource with this, so I actually found the Simple Studies, which was quite similar. It has little, it's basically the same as that was. It's, you know, ask your kids to narrate what we read last time, and then instead of using the Dover coloring book, it comes with coloring pages for each chapter. And yes, this is for K through 4 students, but it was delightful for our whole family to be doing the Bird Book last year. I just got it from my younger ones, but my older ones enjoyed it so much that they sat in on every single lesson that we did. So it just ended up being a part of our morning basket time. Also, we live at the beach, so made sense to just do it all together. This is just here to represent that we are doing community Bible study again as a family this year. The kids and I, we have a great community Bible study in our town that has a full class program for homeschoolers. There are actually so many homeschoolers in our program that the class sizes are broken down by early readers, elementary readers, there's a middle school group, a high school group. So it's quite full, and they spend as much time doing the homework as I do during the week, and they have, they'll be going through the same Bible passages each week as me. This was last year's. We did Ephesians and 1st and 2nd Samuel. This year we are doing Matthew for the entire year, which is really cool. So this is just here to kind of represent that, but we did this book last year. The last handful of things that I have to share over here, I have our folk songs and our hymns. So our folk songs, we're going to do the Crawdad song, which was one that I wanted. It was one of my 3 that I wanted to do last year, but we just didn't really, it kind of got to like March or April, and I was like, hey, we haven't started that yet, so let's hold it for next year. We did our other 2 though. So we're gonna start this year with the Crawdad song and then stop right before our holiday schooling starts. And then in the spring, we're gonna do the Wellerman. And I am going to be using, yeah, here it is, Delightfully Feasting's Sea Shanty Study on Wellerman. And I'm also leading the morning time at our co-op this year. That's another thing. We also have a co-op that we go to in addition to our Bible study on a regular basis. So that's another kind of family subject. But these are the songs that I'm going to be doing for our morning time next year in co-op. I just figured if I was leading the morning time that it would just make sense that I just use the same pieces per term at co-op that I'm using at home. So as a family and as a co-op, we'll be doing the Crawdad song, and as a family and as a co-op, we'll be doing the Wellerman. The hymns that we're doing is Come Thou Fount. We're going to start this year with that one. We have done this one before, but I feel like we could revisit it for my older ones, and then my younger ones haven't done it. Term 2 starts with, we have 3 weeks, I believe, of term 2 being before Christmas, and then the additional 8 or 9 weeks are going to be after Christmas break. So I decided to do Lo, How a Rose Are Blooming because, yes, it's a Christmas carol or a Christmas hymn, but it's one that's not overly, like, we're not singing about like the Christmas tree in January, February. So I thought that this was a nice one to kind of transition through the holidays. And then As the Deer is going to be our last one. And this one was my mom's favorite, so that's why I chose that one. Additional enrichment by term will be Shakespeare. We're doing Macbeth this year. Normally I do Shakespeare in the spring, but at our co-op we will be doing Shakespeare in the spring as a co-op. I'm not teaching it, so it's just my older ones who are going to be a part of it. It's probably going to be midsummer or something that we've already done, but I didn't want to have competitive Shakespeare plays going on in my kids' heads at the same time. So because of that, we're going to do Macbeth first term so that we are through it before they start it in, I think it's about February that they're going to be starting it at co-op. Also, this is one of the ones that's maybe for older kids and not younger ones, so I'm not exactly sure that I'm going to be doing it as a complete family subject. But in our history, we will be doing a little bit with Macbeth this year, so I thought that this was a good time to bring in Macbeth. Just because it matches up with where we're at in history. Okay, so then term 2 is going to be our additional enrichment. So this is just kind of what goes in and out of the morning basket. So term 1, Macbeth. Term 2 is going to be the Bible picture portfolio of Matthew from Simply Charlotte Mason. We won't start this one till January, so we'll get through our first 3 weeks of term 2 being our holiday schooling, and then when we pick back up in January, like I said, we have 8 weeks, and it's perfect because there are 8 pictures, and we'll be knee deep in the middle of our Matthew study with community Bible study. So that's going to be our term 2 additional enrichment. And then term 3, we're going to do another ballet study by Delightfully Feasting, another Tchaikovsky study. So we did the Nutcracker last year and everybody loved it. We even invited extended family who all enjoyed it as well. So term 3, we're either going to be doing Sleeping Beauty or Swan Lake. And I haven't decided yet because I'd like to see if the Kravis Center or Miami City Ballet or even a ballet in Orlando will be doing either of those. And if we get a chance to see it live, then I'll make the decision based on that. But I really loved her ballet study of the Nutcracker, and we have a lot of the resources because some of the resources that I purchased secondhand for this are some of the same resources that she uses for the other ballet studies. And then we also have some memory work as a family. So John has us all going through Psalm 1 right now to memorize. Once we have that down pat, I'm assuming that we'll probably change to another one, but that's the one we're working on right now. We also do New City Catechism as a family. Older ones, and John and I do the adult version. Younger ones do the one for kids. There's also a free app that kind of sings it to you if you you can even, like, the catechism questions are in the app as well. And then they each memorize 2 poems, one in the first half of the year, one in the second half of the year. And so they'll each be picking 2 William Wordsworth poems. So those are our family subjects and kind of a breakdown of how I'm going to split them up throughout the year. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments down below. happy curriculum week. I will see you tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day with other resources for my other kids. Bye guys.